we're all together, we're all safe, we're taking care of one another, and living in that moment is the only thing that's available to us, and it's what's going to get us to the next moment.
Welcome to the Badass Manifester podcast, keeping you inspired with high vibe content, bringing you the best manifestation and mindset tools, teachings, interviews, and answering questions to help empower you to get out of your own way and take massive action to make magic your everyday normal. I'm your host, Ashley Gordon, spiritual life and manifestation coach, helping women and spiritual entrepreneurs manifest more impact, influence, and income. It is my purpose and pleasure to help you wake up to the badass creator that you are. Let's do this. What's up, everyone? Welcome to day 10, Shaken To Awaken. Oh my gosh, we've been live for 10 days straight, bringing you so much good content. And I'm so grateful and excited and just lit up by the flow of these 10 days. And today could not be more perfect to close out with our special guest today. I cannot wait to introduce you to Jenna. She is absolutely incredible and very, very special to me and my team. And I'll tell you all about her in a second. So want to just recap a little bit about these 10 days and just say that, wow, man, I'm blown away by the nuggets that were dropped. The amount of good information that was shared in here is just unbelievable. And a couple of people have messaged me and thanked me for, creating this platform because it's helped them. It's helped them get through this time. And it's just such a good confirmation to hear that, because that was the intention of this, is just to help you awaken to the next level of you, help you awaken to all the things that were shared, like being productive and making time for yourself and connecting with your breath and helping you, see possibilities of creating an online business, helping you date. Like, there was so many good topics that were shared from amazing leaders. So I just want to thank each and every person that watched and each and every person that shared their gifts. So thank you to all my mastermind girls, to Alyssa, to Jenna, for just being an amazing part of this, the Shaken To Awaken event. So, okay, I'm going to bring her on. So today's guest is going to share all about uncertainty and control and choosing what is within, not without. And Jenna is a coach. She's a therapist. She helps women revolutionize their connection to themselves and love themselves and accept themselves. And she is also a lead coach with Badass Manifester. So she is my right-hand woman. She helps me in so many ways. She helps lead this team, and she helps bring everything that you see that we do to fruition. So she's a really amazing, amazing person. And so she's going to be in the front screen today, and I'm really excited to bring her to the front. So Jenna, I'm like blushing. I'm so excited. I'm unmuting you.
I'm so excited.
I'm so red. Welcome.
So thank you so much for having me here out in front on the screen.
So glad.
It's an honor. And I am so excited to be helping you close out this 10 days of Shaken To Awaken. There has been so much amazingness that the mastermind ladies have shared, and I just feel honored to be on that level with them. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course. Yes. You are so on that level. You're amazing. I'm so excited. So excited for you to share. I'm pulling it up on my phone. Everyone's like giving you so much love right now.
Oh,
yes.
Yay.
So cool. So cool. So tell me, introduce yourself on a deeper level, because you do a lot of things.
I do many things.
You do many things. I forgot to mention that Jenna has a podcast. She has a brand called F Perfect, and her podcast is called Middle Finger to Perfection as well, which is an amazing podcast. So I want to share just a little bit more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So my background is as a therapist. I've been doing that for a long time, like 15 years. And that is my first love. And I've been coaching for about the last 5 years, and then the last, I don't know, year with you, Ash, or almost. Um, and my main mission in life is to create more self-love in the world. I feel like that's something that we're not taught how to do. It's not something that's handed down from generation to generation or modeled for us. And so the way that I do that is by working one-on-one with clients, doing coaching and therapy, and also through my podcast, which you mentioned, Middle Finger to Perfection. And over there, we focus on loosening the grip of perfectionism, people pleasing, worthiness seeking, conflict avoidance, all the things that I think so many of us struggle with generally, and especially right now. Because right now is a time of existential uncertainty in the world. You know, it's uncertainty for each of us in our own lives and also just on a global scale. And one thing that I have noticed in myself and in working with clients is that the more uncertainty there is around me, the more I feel the need to control. I don't know if anybody's feeling that right now, like an intense desire to just like manage their schedules or have a timeline or, you know, figure out when they're going to be able to go outside again. All of the basic things that we don't usually have to think about being able to do or not do, that we're usually in control of. So yeah, that's what I really want to talk about today.
I'm so ready for you to talk about that. It's funny because, you know, whenever things feel out of control for me, I do exactly that. I grab onto anything I can.
Yes.
I'm just like, what can I control? Oh, can I control my husband? Nope. Can I control this? Nope. Just anything. So
Yeah.
relatable. And if you guys agree with that, just let us know in the comments that you are so on that same page with us. I think
Yeah,
it's
like control freak number one right here, hand raised. Yeah, type A, invented.
Courtney said my word for 2020 was surrender. Well, guess that's the ultimate surrender. It's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. We set our intention for something, and then the opposite happens to force us to actually do that. God's like, okay, you want to surrender? I'm going to give you something to surrender to. So
Yeah.
cool. So true.
Yeah. I feel that. I've been working on surrendering my control, and now it's like, yeah, here's the invitation. You couldn't get a bigger invitation than this one.
No,
So step right up.
you couldn't even imagine.
No.
Okay, so go for it.
Yeah. So I think, you know, I think it's really important for all of us to recognize that there's a relationship between uncertainty in general in our lives and the existential uncertainty right now and anxiety. Those two things are very closely related. So anytime that uncertainty is increased, whether it's due to a personal circumstance that we're going through or due to a global pandemic that all of us are experiencing, we're going to feel more anxiety generally. And that need for control is going to increase because all of those things exist on a continuum: uncertainty, anxiety, and control. And I think what we're saying is that the invitation right now from the universe is to focus on what is within, not what is without. And so, on several levels: one, what is within ourselves versus what is outside of ourselves, and two, what is within our control and what is outside of our control. And I think, Ash, you know, for a lot of us, you mentioned not being able to control your husband. I think a lot of us forget that we can't control our husbands and our partners and other people around us. And especially right now, when we're going through such a challenging time, we want to resort to that. We want to resort to trying to control the people around us, control our little environment inside our homes that we're in right now. And that is only going to breed more anxiety and more uncertainty because we're never going to be able to succeed at that. It sets us up to fail if we think that controlling others is going to make things better or easier, because it's just not possible. So I wanted to bring a few tools that I like to use, you know, whenever stuff like this comes up for me and my clients. And one is something that we talk about on the podcast. We call it ACC, and that's awareness, curiosity, and compassion. So anybody out there who's familiar with mindfulness techniques, this is going to be very familiar to you. Um, but I think because right now the invitation is to focus within, the number one tool with that is to increase our awareness of what's going on within us. Um, and I think it's important to recognize that right now awareness can feel like a scary thing. There's a lot of things out in the world and on the news that we'd rather not be aware of. And there's probably some things going on within us, reactions to what's happening outside, that feel scary to be aware of. And that's where the curiosity and compassion comes in,
Mm.
is to be able to sit with what's arising for us with just an air of curiosity and questioning. Like, I wonder why this is coming up. I wonder why I'm feeling this way. I wonder where this is coming from. Um, and then with that curiosity, making sure that you bring in just like heaping helpings of self compassion, because in this time of stress and anxiety, um, especially for those of us that identify as perfectionists or people pleasers or control types, we are going to feel really quick to judge ourselves and to judge others. We're going to feel quick to like feel shame or guilt about how we're reacting or how other people are reacting. And that is only going to increase the anxiety and uncertainty.
Mm.
So I want to invite people to bring the kind of compassion to themselves that they would bring to someone that they love,
Mm.
to their child, to their niece or nephew. Like, that is how loving and patient and caring we need to be with ourselves right now.
Wow. Yes. Yes. It's so true. Why is that so challenging sometimes? It feels challenging at certain times, because I don't know. It's so much easier to do that to other people.
It is. It is. And I think we're conditioned that way, especially as women,
Mhm.
is to extend a lot more compassion to others than we extend to ourselves. And I think right now, because of how scary things are in our world, like, we are all a little bit regressed to our inner children, like some of those primal fears and feelings are coming up. And it's easy to forget that even though we're these competent, successful, accomplished humans, inside there are parts of us that are like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Like, on a little kid level, like, I'm fucking scared. Somebody tell me that this is going to be okay.
Oh my
Like,
God, you're so
mommy,
right. Yeah, exactly.
mommy, where are you? Yeah.
Totally felt like that. Oh my gosh. If you guys are feeling so connected to this, just say, yes, that's so me right now, because I feel like that's also part of the awareness that you're talking about, is being aware that there is a little child in there that is a little bit scared. And it's okay to be aware of that, because then you can get curious about that. Right. And that's like some deep healing stuff.
Yes. And you can bring all of the adult you, all of the successful, competent, badass, accomplished you to take care of that inner need, right? Like, because even though we have that part of us that's like scared shitless, we also have all of our other skills and abilities to take care of ourselves and get stuff done. So I want to suggest a couple other things besides the ACC, awareness, curiosity, and compassion. Um, I think one other thing that can be really helpful is to, as much as possible, bring yourself back to the present moment. And by present moment, I mean literally what's here right now. So, right now, Ash and I are sitting together with all of you. We're talking, and in this moment, things are pretty safe, right? Like, we're all together, we're all safe, we're taking care of one another. And living in that moment is the only thing that's available to us, and it's what's going to get us to the next moment. Because in times of uncertainty, so uncertainty drives anxiety, and anxiety is related to future events.
So
Anxiety exists about the future. Oftentimes depression exists about the past. So
Whoa.
In
Okay.
my
We need to
Yeah,
let's just say that again because that's really, really powerful.
yeah,
Anxiety. Go ahead.
yeah. So anxiety is generally suffering in the present about things that you imagine will happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas depression, and I'm not talking about like clinical depression, like people who are diagnosed with depression, I'm talking about feelings of depression that we all experience, are generally suffering in the present moment related to the past.
So good. So good. Chad says such a good nugget. Yep.
So if we can try as much as possible to focus on the present, we will spend less time agonizing over unknown future events and less time grieving over past events. And then the third tool that I just want to suggest is, especially right now, it's really going to be about riding waves, right? Like riding waves of thoughts, of worries, of fears, of frustrations, riding waves of emotions, of anxiety, of sadness, of grief, riding waves of anxiety and riding waves of uncertainty. And to just know that right now, feeling like this in your days is normal. And it means you're doing good. Like,
Yeah.
if this is how it feels, good, welcome, because that's where we all are.
We're going surfing, guys.
Yes.
Surfboard. I had to.
Beyonce's got a surfboard for all of us right now.
Yeah, no, that's so true. It's so true. And I feel like when you're riding the wave and you're aware of it and you're curious about it, that just brings it even more. Like for me, it helps me realize like it is okay, because if you're
Yeah,
not aware of it and you're not curious about it, I feel like everything you said is just kind of building on itself. If you're not aware of it, then you might feel taken out by the wave.
exactly. Like if you have your bearings on your surfboard, right, you can probably get yourself to shore.
Yeah.
Like if you're kind of head up, looking around, seeing your surroundings. But if you're like not paying attention, you are going to get dragged under by the wave. And I don't want that for any of us, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's so good. Danielle said, "Oh yeah, I've been riding all the waves." Okay, good to know other people feel this way. Marie said, "Is there any truth to a wave of emotion only lasts 90 seconds?"
Ooh, gosh, I wish that were true.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have any evidence to say that's true. Um, yeah, I feel like that's people wanting certainty. Like
Yeah.
that's
And
like, just tell me it's going to last 90 seconds and I'll be fine.
get
I
curious
think,
about it for yourself.
yeah,
How long is this lasting? How long before I can close the gap, from one wave to another, like, that
yeah,
flow state.
yeah. Maybe it's also about reducing the like frequency of the waves. Do you know what I mean? The amplitude of the waves, like creating calmer seas for yourself.
Such a good metaphor.
I know. Thank you for coming up with that one, Ash.
Darn, you came up with them. No, you did. No, you did.
It's like, no, you hang up first. No, you.
Sometimes.
Yeah, seriously.
Awesome. This is so good. So, there's like, okay, so we can't control what's going on outside of us, but we do have control over what's going on within us. So just to recap, bringing in that awareness, bringing in that curiosity, and then what was the other ACC, right?
Compassion, self-compassion.
Passion. That part's so important.
Yeah. And not only self-compassion, honestly, it's compassion for self and others in that process.
That's so true.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do
Yeah.
you practice that?
Ooh. Um, I think that for me it's become second nature, but it wasn't always.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's about committing to your practice, like committing to practicing ACC in my case, and trying to have intention around it. And also allowing it not to be perfect. It's
Mhm.
not going to be perfect. I'm not going to do it all the time. I'm going to forget. And
Yeah.
that's where the compassion comes in again, to just say, like, okay, you forgot to do it that time. You weren't paying attention, but I'm trying my best. I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying my best. I'm doing my best. I'm being intentional. And that's all that I can ask of myself or anyone else for that matter.
So true. It's so true. Yesterday I was on a call for this Empower Our Women in Recovery,
Yeah.
and this one woman was sharing about her spiral and like how she was kind of spiraling out. And
Yeah.
I was trying to help her gain the awareness as to like, how does she know, when does she know she's spiraling? Does she know before it happens, in the middle of the spiral, or after the spiral?
Yes.
And she said in the middle of the spiral. And I was like, great, now you have a new awareness that you didn't have before, because if you now know that it's happening in the middle of the spiral, you might be more inclined to disrupt the spiral, right?
Yes. Yes.
And she was like, well, how will I know that I'm like, how will I know, like, what if I forget? And I was like, well, aren't you now aware that you know when it's happening? So it's like, I feel like every time we get awareness, it's like an opening in our subconscious mind for us to be able to catch ourselves.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love that you asked her that question, because once you determine where your awareness begins in the process,
Yeah.
you can start to back it up.
Back it up. Exactly.
Back that shit up. Yeah, you can start noticing earlier in
Yes.
the process when things are happening. And eventually, I'm sure this woman will get to a point where she'll notice before she starts going down the spiral.
Totally. That was my hope for her
Yes.
and for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I just had another thought on that. It's like to be able to identify any of this, you have to get curious about yourself. Like you have to say to yourself, okay, well, when am I feeling like that? And what's up with that? Just like you said, but it actually takes you going inside and doing the work. And I feel like there's so many ways for people to check out
Yes.
Netflix and
Yeah.
chill and, keep themselves busy. And like a lot of people in recovery that I was talking to yesterday, they just want to keep themselves busy. They're
Yeah.
going nuts because they can't get out of the house and keep themselves busy, 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 busy,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. I think what stops a lot of us from going within is the fear of what we'll find.
Yes.
It's like the fear of what's lurking there. Like, what is lurking within that I'm not aware of in my conscious mind at this point that I'm desperately trying to avoid? And the thing is, with anxiety, um, anticipatory anxiety, so the anxiety that we experience in advance of an event or in anticipation of something happening, is always worse
Yeah.
than the actual experience. So we have this sense that if we look within, if we get quiet, if we reduce the distractions and get curious, we're going to find some just terrible crap in there that we don't want to face. But the reality is, it will be less scary than what you think it's going to be.
Oh, so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we want to avoid looking at ourselves, but when we actually do that work, we find that we're not as bad as we make ourselves out to be.
Yeah, because the two most primal human drives are to avoid pain and seek pleasure.
Yep.
And so, and the drive to avoid pain is so much greater than the drive to seek pleasure. So even when we're talking about looking within, our fear is, I'm going to find out bad shit about myself that I don't want to know.
Mhm.
But what we don't realize, because all we're focusing on is avoiding that pain, is that we're also going to find some amazing stuff about ourselves that
Yeah.
we don't know about. There's
Right.
going to be pleasure in that process for us. And if we're only focused on avoiding pain, we'll never get the pleasure that exists
Mm.
on the other side.
Wow.
Deep thoughts on a Friday.
I love it. Deep thought on a Friday. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This is so good. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. Um, Courtney said, I've been financially blessed during this time, which has been great, and getting some shame pushed back because I don't feel anxious now. Interesting.
Oh, yeah. It's like survivor's guilt a little bit. It's like, I'm doing okay right now, and so many other people are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just need a little more compassion there, Courtney, honestly.
Yeah.
And also, not only compassion for yourself that you're doing okay and not feeling anxious and feeling good, but compassion for the people who are pushing back on you a little bit, you know, because they are anxious and worried and scared and not secure, and they're sort of acting out toward you. And I'm sorry that that's happening.
And this kind of brings up something that I was thinking about yesterday, which was like everything's neutral. Everything is neutral. Inherently, everything's neutral. Every circumstance, every situation, you know, who's to say we can't laugh at a funeral, right? Like, to take it there. But like, for real, like everything is neutral. We're giving everything meaning.
Yes.
So if we can get more into our neutral state, into our objective awareness, into our awareness of what we're giving meaning, and kind of bring it back a little bit, that always helps me, Court, to kind of let go of the meaning that I'm giving it.
I think that's such a good point. Yeah.
I had to yell at Todd for a second off the screen because he's doing dishes, which I'm so grateful for. I'm trying to control him.
Not right now.
Oh, how dare you do the dishes? Please keep doing the dishes. Thank you. I love you. Chad said, what waves have you been riding recently?
Oh, Chad.
Oh, Chad.
Oh, Chad. Let's see. You know, I'll be very transparent with you. I've been riding the waves of having to navigate. So, you know, I work with clients, obviously. So I have my one-on-one clients, and everything's harder right now for most people. Things are harder. It's stressful. And so I've been having to hold more space for people in my work. And it's the first time that I've had to do that as a coach or therapist while also going through the same events that my clients are going through. Like, usually I'm holding space for things that are happening in their lives that aren't happening in mine. And now it's things that are affecting all of us.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. So it's like trying to navigate that. You know, I have a lot of experience of creating boundaries in my life around my work, but not this one. So I'm having to build a new boundary for myself and a new way of navigating things with clients that I'm also navigating myself.
Yeah, because like sometimes you'll have clients as a therapist or a coach that are going through something that maybe you have went through, but like you've healed from it, you're good. Like it's not the forefront of your mind, right? But it's more of like the here and the now of what's going on. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've definitely been on I was going to say roller coaster. Oh, I've been riding
the waves.
I've been riding the wave of abundance.
I fucking love that. I'm sorry. This is probably the most swearing on the Badass Manifestor Facebook page.
No, this is a safe cursing space.
Okay.
No, in the beginning when it all hit, like you guys know, well, some of you know, some of you don't. Todd was really sick, so I thought he had the virus, so I was bugging out. Yeah. It's been 2 weeks. We're good. I don't have it. No one around us that was around us has it. I'm pretty sure that he just had the flu, if that even was what it was. But I was in this like really low state. And my mom actually said to me, like, girl, come on. She was like, come on, like, you know, practice what you preach. Like, get out of this. Like, you got this. You got this. And thank God she did. And she's actually the one who inspired Shaken To Awaken, because she told me, like, you need to do something for your community and you need to show up and be the leader that you are right now. And I was like, okay, Mom, you're right.
You're right.
Williams. And so, shout out Mom. I know she'll be very happy to hear that. And so, yeah, she was right. And I was able to switch that. And ever since then, I mean, Jenna and I and the team we're launching the Quantum Coaching Academy, and every day we're getting an enrollment, and it's just like so exciting. And I really feel like we're building a lot of momentum right now. So I want to give you permission that if you are in a good place, it's okay to be in a good place. Like, I feel like all my dreams are coming true right now, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that, like, for those of us who have experienced hard times and experienced trauma maybe in our lives, this might be a kind of used to. Do you know what I mean? Like, for some people, it's like, all right, you know, pandemic, like, let's go, like, let's do this thing. Um, and I think, as your mom said, like, this is a time where we need leaders
Mm-hmm.
and we need everyone to step into their purpose and their message. And for some people, if what your purpose and your message now is just getting by and just taking care of your family and making it day to day, do that.
Yeah.
Do that. And for other people who are called to serve right now and feel like that's what they need to get through, step up and serve.
Mm-hmm.
The world needs more of that. The world needs more coaches. The world needs more leaders. The world needs more of you in whatever way you can show up right now.
And it's wild because, people are messaging me on Instagram. And if you saw my post today about, what my client confessing that she's ready to be a coach, like, people are coming out of the woodworks being like, oh, I'm ready to step into my calling. Whatever your calling is, people, coaches, a lot of coaches are emerging right now. And, 2020 is the year of vision, right? Like, that's what everyone said, the year of vision. And very much so, like we talked about earlier, like some Carly or Chad or someone mentioned surrender.
Yeah.
Or Courtney. And it's like, okay, universe is like, 2020 is the year of vision. So here's a pandemic so you can get clear on your fucking vision. Okay? Okay.
Yeah. It is. It is a time to get really clear on what's important
Yeah,
and how you want to show up and how you want to respond.
totally.
Yeah.
And going within, just like you said, all those tools are so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing them.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm honored to be part of Shaking and Awakening. Shakening and
Shaken.
Awakening.
Shaken, okay, so we have a couple comments. Natalie says, Jenna, you're the best. Yes, you are.
Oh,
Shout out to Natalie. So Jenna
love
and
Natalie.
Jenna's the lead coach in Manifest Max Impact Mastermind. She's also going to be the head coach in Quantum Coaching Academy. And Natalie went through the mastermind and she's absolutely crushing it. Let's just shout out Natalie for a second. The consistency and the income that she's pulling in and the people she's helping and the women she's empowering, like, Natalie, woo woo.
Yeah.
We're celebrating you.
You are the best, Natalie.
You are. You really are. Danielle said, I can relate. What do you recommend when people or friends in our lives are incredibly anxious and stressed out, but don't listen to your advice and just keep focusing on the negative side of things? But as much as you can mention practices or tools or mindset shifts, they don't listen nor take the advice. What do you recommend in those situations?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Really
I would suggest, first of all, and this may sound a little bit harsh, it's a lesson I had to learn the hard way in my own life, is they might not want your advice.
Yeah.
They might not want your advice. Yeah, they might not be ready for it. They might not be interested in it. It might not be time for that. They may just want you to hold space for them. And I think that is your moment to decide whether or not you want to hold that space for them. Because you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get curious about how it impacts you to hold that space.
Love that.
And then third, I know you're going to be shocked that I'm going to mention compassion again. But I would really try to tap into compassion for them and where they're at. And to just be able to hold that they are doing their best in the best way they know how to respond to this moment. And you can hold on to a hope of something else for them, but you have to kind of release that attachment with compassion and let them be where they are.
That's so true. And that's so integrated into the QCA methodology, which is like really the mastery and coaching comes from equanimity and like meeting them where they are, just like Jenna said, doesn't necessarily mean giving them a tool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, maybe some people who are here with us today didn't want any of the tools that I had, and that's totally fine. And I just say,
Yes, they did. They wanted your tools.
well, maybe they weren't ready for him, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's where I have to go into my compassion and be like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, you're
I love
so
you. Still
right.
love you.
This changed my relationship, Danielle, with a lot of people in my family when like I would just be wasting my precious energy on trying to have them do things differently or see things differently or say things differently or look at things. And it just never changed until I was able to accept them for where they were and love them for where they were and just listen. Listening changed everything in my relationships with a lot of people in my life. And so it's definitely a skill to cultivate for sure. Cool. Chad said, I feel like this halting of the world activity has been giving people the time to find clarity.
Ooh, speaking of vision, yeah.
Yeah. Natalie said, you both are such an amazing team. My business has exploded thanks to you both.
Oh,
Danielle said, perfectly said, Jenna, you are the best. Courtney said, yes, you are amazing, Jenna.
oh, thank you, Courtney.
Courtney said, I do that with friends and it is a struggle. I'm an action taker. I need to be that step back.
Yeah. And I think, what you brought up, Ash, like listening is an action.
Oh my
And
God.
reframing that, like and actively listening, right? Like engaged listening is absolutely an action. And that might be the action that you're taking as an action taker is like, I'm just going to be in listening.
Yeah, you're so right. It is an action. That's so true. And
Yeah.
when you're listening and you're just repeating back to someone what they are saying to you, it makes them feel heard and it makes them
Yeah.
feel seen. And sometimes that's really just what people want.
Yeah.
They just want to feel heard and seen and loved.
Yeah.
Yes. Courtney said she's so excited for QCA. Yay.
Oh my God. Is Courtney a part of QCA?
Yeah.
Oh, oh my God. Yes. I
Awesome.
get to meet Courtney and work with Courtney.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. Katie Shea says, Katie's part of QCA too. Hey girl. I was
Yes.
about
Hey,
to
go
ask a
ahead.
question, but just gave me the answer. Beautiful alignment. Thank you, amazing ladies. Grateful. Oh, we love you.
Oh,
So excited. Okay,
yes.
cool.
So,
So,
Ash,
yeah,
can I ask you a question?
yes.
Okay. What what is the leadership that you're stepping into in this moment?
Ooh, I thought I was interviewing you.
I know, but I just had to ask. It came to my mind.
Just being of service in the highest capacity possible. And right now it looks like in this moment, it looks like showing up in abundance
Yeah,
and modeling that in a way of being for my community.
I love that. I feel like that's what part of what this has been about abundance. Like the whole Shaken to Awaken, an abundance of sharing and knowledge and tools and
Yeah,
support.
right.
And yeah,
In abundance. And I was talking to Jen Casey last night. She's one of my dear friends. And, she's part of a high level mastermind. And I didn't even realize this. Like, I love elevating people. Like, that's like one of my favorite things. Like, I love giving people a platform and I believe in the abundance that there's more than enough clients. Like, I want every single woman to, connect with someone through this training, if that's available to them. Right. So she was just saying how the leader of her mastermind, James Wedmore, he always elevates the people in his masterminds, and now they're the lead coaches of his events, and they speak at his events, and they're inspiring other people through his work, and it's just so cool. Like that to me is leadership. Is when you can rise by lifting others.
yes,
And I know that sounds like kind of cliche, but like I really do mean that, and I feel like that is what we're doing here.
yes.
So that feels really, really good.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Ooh, um, I feel like you know, I feel like as a person who has experienced difficult things in life, I've gone through things, I've had trauma, I've had loss. I feel like I'm one of the people that is not feeling as activated by these world events as others. I'm a little bit grounded. And so my greatest hope right now is to step up and provide some support and grounding for others who feel frantic and all over the place and anxious and uncertain, and to be kind of an anchor for them. Yeah. I just want to share resilience in this time of uncertainty.
So beautifully said. You are that anchor. You're that anchor for me, for sure.
Oh, thank you. You are an abundance mentor for me. So, yeah.
So
living out our purposes.
So cool. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Shaken to Awaken. These are 10 magical days. And if you missed any of them, you can go listen on the podcast. And if you're on the podcast and you want to see these beautiful faces, come into the Badass Manifestor Facebook group. And please connect with Jenna. So she's going to share some info on how you can find her, how you can hire her, how you can listen to her. So take it away.
Get it? Yeah, you can find me on the web at jennateague.com. You can find me on Instagram at Jenna Teague. And you can please find the podcast. That's one of my favorite places to hang out. It's Middle Finger to Perfection on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places. And you can find us on Instagram at FPerfect, EFF Perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing your light with us. You're awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Facebook. We love you. Everyone says thank you.
Thank you.
Ciao for now, babies. Oh, on Monday, on Tuesday, we're going to have tarot card reading by Hallie. So it's going to be Tarot Tuesday, which is going to be super fun. So tune in for that. And Danielle's the best. She dropped your Instagram. And we're going to have another guest expert next week. So stay tuned. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Badass Manifestor podcast. I love manifesting Mondays with you. And there's so much more in store right here. The best way to manifest love is to give love. If you loved what you heard today, subscribe to the Badass Manifestor podcast. Leave a review on iTunes. Let me know how much you dig the energy here. All of my social is linked up in the show notes, so screenshot this episode, tag me on Instagram, and let me be part of your real-time journey. For more info on me, feel free to go to my website, manifestwithash.com. Repeat after me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. Go get 'em.